Alright, what's up, guys? So, I do plan on posting the video probably by the time when you guys hear this podcast episode, because there are going to be a lot of videos I am going to be posting tonight from, full length videos to shorts. So, you might end up missing that. But if you do follow the podcast, I did do a video where I'm showing you guys the tweet. And you can see the tweet for yourself, hear what I have to say in a shorter form. But I do have a little bit more things to say about this tweet. And I know there's going to probably be people out there are like, bro, it's just a tweet. But yeah, overall though, the tweet does accuse me of some stuff. And that's why I'm thinking like maybe whoever it is that did make that tweet might have me confused with the person that I do have issues with because they've done those things. I don't be associating or talk. You know what? Hold on for a second. Let me just go ahead, relax myself before I get into doing this podcast episode because I feel like that there are a lot of things that need to be said and discussed. All right. So overall, to talk about me as a person and as a content creator, you know what? Yeah, let's talk on content creating first. I might not be the biggest content creator. I might not be in the position that I want to be in, but I know that I have a reputation to maintain. I have an image to display out there to those that will come across my channel. The last thing that I need to do is to do things that I'm going to have to apologize for later on. Anything that I say to an individual that I cross paths with and it's negative, I'm 100% of the time mean that, okay? So, to just talk on those people real quick, because my thing is this. That's one thing that a person cannot say about me when it comes down to content creating. And I feel like even when it comes down to just like IRL situation, I never throw the first punch. I don't get into it with people like that. I'm calm, cool, collected. People start acting a certain way. I'm like, hey, I'm going to let you act that way. But as soon as you do something where I take it in a way where I need to respond, don't be surprised if I respond in a way that you don't like. That's all that needs to be said about that, all right? What comes after, it's debatable. It depends on what the situation is. But I can think of a lot of different situations throughout my life where I'm like, I wasn't the one to throw the first punch. That's the thing. I'm not going to lie and say I've never thrown the first punch, but I'm just trying to think like, there's been times where I've taken things to the next level. If that counts as throwing the first punch, then yeah. But even then, it's like still I don't put myself in situations, especially in my adult. Maybe when I was a kid, there might be some situations and occasions where I threw the first punch, but other than that, I'm like, bro, I've been chilling, especially in my adult life. I'm like, I've been chilling. I don't put myself in those situations where it's like, now I gotta answer for stuff. Now I gotta apologize for stuff. I don't do that. But I feel like I've elaborated on that. Let's move on. Let's talk on something else. So fast forward, I become a content creator. I get into it with Just a Robot because that's overall where this fan came from. I know there's going to be people out there saying, oh, what if this fan came from... I'm not beefing with nobody else. I don't have no issues with nobody else. Like I've said, I don't get into it with people like that. I don't be throwing first punches like that. So overall, we all know where this individual came from because they're the only ones. This fan base has been the only fan base that's wanting to drag on the situation for as long as it's been going. But let's just sit down and talk about that real quick too, because I feel like I've mentioned this before, where there was a video that Just the Robot did on me where he was trying to make it seem like that the fans that were leaving racist comments in my comment sections was from other fan bases. I remember all the people that I've gotten into it with throughout the years of me being a content creator. And I've gotten into it. There was this YouTuber named Clockwork Cyborg. It was this, then the YouTuber Minnesota Boy. Like, this is in order. Like, I remember the exact order of how I got into it with everybody. So it was Clockwork Cyborg, Minnesota Boy. Then, shortly, I think it was maybe, a month or two prior before, I got into it, for the first time with Just a Robot. But prior before that, I got into it with that Thomas the Tank Engine community. And then it was Just a Robot. So just to overall tell you guys about the individuals before Just a Robot that I got, the individuals in the community that I got into it with. So Clockwork Cyborg, me and him had squashed our beef. Minnesota Boy, we all knew that he was going to get canceled at some point in time, and it was just that question: when is he going to get canceled? When is he going to get to a point where he can no longer upload videos or do things anymore? And then the Thomas the Tank Engine community, I would say that it did last a little bit, but I think once when they seen that I was getting into it with just a robot, they all just pretty much abandoned the situation. I hadn't heard from those guys no more, but I think a lot of them, if I could just explain each individual situation, when I got into it with Clockwork Cyborg, it was because he was trying to promote his channel in CJ So Cool. For those that know of that YouTuber, he was trying to promote himself in CJ So Cool's comment sections, so I got on him about that. So I guess maybe if people want to say I threw the first punch with that situation, then okay, then I threw the first punch in that situation. But with Minnesota Boy, I wouldn't say that I said anything disrespectful towards him. I mean, the reaction video is still up. I reacted to it not too long ago, and I don't think I say anything negative towards him because I didn't believe that the situation, like if somebody would have told me that this situation was going to lead into a beef, I still probably would have did that video because I'm like, this is a racist that I'm arguing with. It ain't like I'm getting into it with somebody where it's like a situation where they're not being canceled for something. I'm like, this is a racist that I'm getting into it with. So I'm not worried about Minnesota Boy. I know at some point in time, the fire on his channel is going to get so big that he ain't going to be able to maintain it, which is what happened. And yeah, he had no choice but to abandon ship. He did try to come back and say that, oh, I was just joking around. I was just playing and trolling. But I'm like, fam, I remember that whole situation. The way that you was carrying on, that doesn't come off as like playing and joking around and stuff. So anyways, but yeah, overall with Minnesota Boy, it's like he wasn't no threat. He wasn't no issue. He wasn't no problem. I would say that the Thomas the Tank Engine community, they were making a lot of different videos on me, but they wasn't saying anything racist. Not that I remember. And I'm not even trying to defend that fan base, but I'm just saying to just kind of get them from underneath the bus. Yeah, they wasn't saying anything racist in my comment sections. They were more so upset that I had called them pedophiles because I was like, fam, that just doesn't even make any sense to me. Why is it a bunch of grown adults pretending to be cartoon characters online, knowing that the primary audience that is watching this show is children? So my thing is this, all right? Just put yourself in a kid mentality, right? Put yourself in a kid mindset. What are you going to do if you see all of these different accounts promoting the cartoon that you watch? You're going to follow those accounts. You're going to be interested in those accounts because they are promoting a cartoon show that you watch, all right? So I know a lot of people in that community, they had it out for me over the stuff that I was saying, but you have to sit down and see it from my point of view. When you see full-grown adults, all right, pretend to be cartoon characters for a TV show that's the primary watchers are kids. I'm not even a parent, and I would like to hope one day that I would end up becoming a parent, but I just know that I wouldn't want my kid to be getting involved with those accounts. That seems kind of weird. And the funny thing is that you can name out any TV show, cartoon TV show possible, whether it's Teen Titans, whether it's, I'm trying to think of SpongeBob. What would you guys do if I told you guys I had an account where I was pretending to be SpongeBob, where I was pretending to be Robin, or what was the dude's name? Cyborg? I don't know. But anyways, or even like some kiddie cartoon shows like Elmo, or does that one TV show Cocomelon have? I imagine they got some characters in there too. But yeah, TV shows from or characters from that TV show. How would you guys overall respond to that? I know a lot of people would question me, and I know a lot of people will want to understand my reasons for pretending to be a cartoon character for a TV show that's meant for kids. And and you know what my thing is this. Just to act it out, what questions would you guys answer or ask me? Because I would love to sit down and think of some quote unquote logical answers, but at the end of the day, there isn't no logical answers for that. That's why a lot of them people overall seen what the message was that I was putting out there. I'm like, wait a minute. Wait a minute, hold on. He's making a point like that. That just seems kind of weird. Where I'm a full grown adult. Like I'll never forget in that during that time frame when that was all going down, and it's there was this one guy. He looked like he looked like he could have possibly been in college or something. But there was a lot of the people in that community that was older than me. At the time being, I was 19 when all that stuff was going on. So And it's just crazy to sit down and think about that. But anyways, but yeah, a lot of the people were older than me. So seeing it where there were college people in their 20s, people that was like older than my age now. I'm 28 years old, and there was people in their 30s pretending to be cartoon characters of this TV show. Now, it's one thing if you work for the show. I guarantee and I promise you, anybody that was in that fan base during that time frame did not work for that show. And just to even ask parents out there, how would that make you feel if your kid was talking to an adult that was pretending to be one of them characters? That ain't no different than one of them adults driving a white van down the street talking about, hey kid, you want some candy? There ain't no difference between them two situations. So I still stand by what I said. At the time being, I did feel bad because I realized that I have offended some people, but at the same time, I'm like, wait a minute, like there's still something wrong. Like I still have that gut feeling like there is still something wrong with this picture here. So yeah, that's why I was like, as the years went on, I realized like I wasn't saying anything wrong. Like I wasn't really trying to go after them in the first place. But at the same time, I'm like, I didn't say anything wrong. Like that's weird for an adult to be pretending to be a cartoon character. I think, and that's what I was saying while I was like, it was weird for them to watch the show. But as the years went on, I became a little bit better, when it came down to things that I need to say and points that I need to make. Like, yeah, there ain't nothing wrong with watching the show. I mean, there's at times where you might stumble upon a cartoon show that you used to watch when you were a kid. I know I find myself watching moments of Tom and Jerry, if I could find like some of my favorite episodes of SpongeBob or Looney Tunes and all those shows. But the thing is this though, when I start impersonating these characters online, that's when it becomes a problem. There ain't nothing wrong with watching the show. Watch the show. You do whatever you want to watch. Like even the day you have kids and you sit down, you watching the show with them, fine. Go ahead, do that. That is you and your business. But when you get into a public platform and you're pretending to be these characters on social media, right? Social media, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, whatever. You are a grown adult. Even if you're like a teenager, that's weird. That's how I'm gonna look at it. It's weird, bruh. A kid, possibly, maybe. I'm like, I don't know what a kid doing on social media anyways. But at the same time, it's like you see it where there's like iPad kids being born every single day, bruh. Every single day. So I'm saying like it's one of those things. Yeah, maybe there's no infant, but as the kid gets older, I'm like, yeah, just pretty much my message to any parents out there: pay attention to what your kids get involved in, because yeah, you got some people out there that's living a little bit weird. All right, but anyways, but yeah, that situation had died off. I'm trying to think. And yeah, Just a Robot and his peoples, they've been the only ones that have been on my case for all these years. Even when I remember, and it's funny because a lot of people, they ask like, what were his fans like back then? And I'm like, they wasn't any different. It was the same situation. Anytime when Just a Robot make a video on you, his fans were right there in your comment sections to let you know that he made a video on you. Now, with this time around when he made this last video on me, yeah, nobody didn't care because his channel was dying off. But let this have been probably, almost 10 years ago. Yeah, his fans would have definitely been in my comment sections talking about, oh yeah, Just a Robot made a video about you, because he had a strong fan base. He hadn't had all these things that's happened to him throughout the years, get made public and things like the racism, the sexism, defending pedophiles. What else has he then did throughout his content creating career? Yeah, he then did a lot of different things. And that's one thing that he's managed to always do is mislead his fans. He lies to his fans. He tells them things about people where he knows that stuff ain't true. So either it's his wrongdoing or it's somebody in his fan base, it's their wrongdoing. But somewhere between this community, there is a wrongdoing going on, all right? So you can't convince me that, oh, maybe it's somebody else, because, again, I don't get myself involved in situations where I'm getting into it with people. I have to say probably the only time where it's remotely gotten to like the good old days where I've gotten into it with people was with this video game called X4 Foundations. But I'm like, I've shut all that stuff down. I'm like, if you guys love this game so much, then go play it, rather than sitting around listening to my videos, watching listening to my podcast episodes, watching my videos. Go play the game. That doesn't even make any sense. You're supporting me where I don't support the game, rather than you just going out and just playing the game. That just don't even make any sense to me. But anyways, that is probably as close as it's gotten to me getting into it with a community. But I've been shutting it down. I've been letting them know you're not going to convince me to like this game. I'm stuck with the game, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I have to like the game. But overall, though, that fan base hasn't been coming after me like Just the Robots fan base. Just the Robots fan base, it doesn't matter what you get yourself into. And if I probably heavily streamed on Kick, if I heavily streamed on YouTube, well, I mean, you know what? No, like, so Kick is probably the only platform because I'm not even very active on there. But TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, I'm trying to think of some other platforms out there. Yeah, those are the 4 that I can come up with right now, where I'm like, you guys have been on my case for a long period of time. And then to just even talk on this tweet, because I feel like, yeah, I didn't spend the past 15 minutes talking on my history with Just a Robot, just to talk on this tweet real quick. And this is like the latest, because it's an accusation. It ain't on no like actual real, like they just uncovered some stuff. But anyways, so the tweet reads out at Team YouTube. YouTube, why? The grammar is horrible in this tweet, by the way, and I think it's a kid. And I wanted to talk on that, how Just a Robot, he manipulates his fan base. He overall uses them to pretty much go out and do his dirty work. But anyways, and I don't know, maybe this person, it's either, the thing is this, either somebody told this individual to make this tweet, or this person is just flat out telling a lie. Regardless, at the end of the day, it is still a lie, but it's either this person's wrongdoing or somebody else's wrongdoing. But anyways, and that's probably what they did too, because if you click on this person's account, they're trying to tweet out to Mr. Beast, I guess, to get some of like his like chocolate or candy or whatever, and they're probably use that over his head, like, oh yeah, I know Mr. Beast, yeah, I'll get in contact with them and tell him to get you some chocolate. You just gotta make this tweet about TMossBoss though, regardless of however this person made this tweet or whatever the reason is. But they go on to say at Team YouTube, this is a support page, by the way, for YouTube, the Team YouTube, but they tweet out to them saying, YouTube, why? This YouTuber, TMossBoss, has been bullying people on YouTube. I think they were saying has been bullying people on YouTube for years. And then they also say that I sexually harass towards people online. Then they go on to say, you need to do something about him, ban him from YouTube. He's still doing it. And my response to it, just like how I said in the video, you got me confused with Just a Robot. Because my thing is this, right? There is evidence out there on Just a Robot where he done sexually harassed people, bullied people. I'm saying, like, you name it, he's done it. So, and my thing is this. I feel like I'm a broken record. I keep repeating myself. I do not get myself involved with people to even have stuff like that come out about me. So that's why I'm like, fam, who told you? If it's somebody that claims that they know me, who is it? Because I would love to know. What is it, the suicidal girl again? She's trying to kickstart her acting career. First she's acting as herself, then she's acting as a suicidal girl. I guess she's gonna act as somebody that claims they know me. I'm like, fam, the thing is this. Any and everybody that knows me know that I do, whether it is within content creating, and yeah, and even outside of content creating. Of course, the people that do content creating, they know I'm a content creator. People outside of content, I don't think there's ever been a time where I've met somebody and built a friendship with them and didn't tell them that I was a content creator. Even if you follow me on social media, I'm promoting content, I'm doing content creating stuff. My content creating platforms are promoted. Everybody knows I'm a content creator. From friends I went to school with, I'm pretty sure there are probably some teachers that used to teach me where they know that I'm a content creator. And if they don't, I'm saying if to any of my friends that personally know me and you keep in contact with any teachers, you tell them I'm a content creator. So at least now I can say that. Family knows that I'm a content creator. People, it was coworkers at my old job know that I'm a content creator. Everybody knows I'm a content creator. So that's the thing where it's like, and that's, you know, and it's like, it's something that's not hidden. It's something that's not, you know, so it's stuff like that where it's like, I guess, you know, the point that I'm trying to make is something like that where to come out about me, just like how I did in the video. I'm laughing about that stuff because that's the thing. It's like any and everybody that knows me knows that I wouldn't do no stuff like that. And I'm like, with the bullying, with the bullying stuff, if we're talking about Just the Robot's fan base, yeah. I done said people look like cartoon characters. I said that Just a Robot in the latest picture that done came out about him, he looked like Lord Farquaad. I used to say it was one of the people that used to be associated with him looked like Wreck-It Ralph, and they really do. Like, I was like, I feel like that's like a biblically accurate, you know, representation of those characters. Like, if they did live action versions, I'm like, hey, you guys, if y'all trying to make some money real quick, go do that and things. But Anyways, but no, it was with the one dude that said that I said they looked like Wreck-It Ralph. Me and him, we squashed, and that's the thing where I'm like, I don't know if it was like a actual like it was like he really wanted to squash this stuff, or if he just wanted me to get in contact with Just a Robot. That's what I'm saying. It's like a lot of the people in Just a Robot's fan base, you can't trust them, including Just a Robot himself. I don't know how many times I ain't heard things from these guys, or these guys pretending to be somebody that they're not, and it's like, it really builds that trust issue, like that barrier of trusting these guys. Because I'm saying Just a Robot, I don't know, even outside of me, he done lied on multiple people on his channel before. He done lied about that VidCon situation. He done lied about, it was this one YouTuber that I just recently watched where he lied on his name or their name. He's lied on my name. I'm trying to think of some other people he done lied on. I'm saying, like, this is a known pattern with Just a Robot and his fans. They are liars. They are. And the thing is this. I'm like, why? My question is why would a Just a Robot fan know of my personal business? Let's just say that there wasn't any truth to that. Let's say I was going around bullying people and harassing people in that way. How does a Just a Robot fan know of that? Because I'm saying, and why would they just tell the most randomest fan in the in that whole group? Why would they not tell Just a Robot himself? Why is it a random fan? Now, if it's one thing if Just a Robot is making this tweet or making this public and stuff, because then I'm like, who told you that? But is this random fan? I'm like, okay, who told you to say that? Or overall, why would you even come up with some stuff like that? And my thing is this, let's just say that this tweet did go viral and it was damaging to my career. That's stuff that you can go to court behind that. You can you can do some time behind stuff like that, lying on people's name and causing if not, my thing is this, if not prison time, you would have to pay somebody some money. And that's the thing. Kids don't know stuff like that. That's why they go out and make tweets like that. And that's why I think just you know, that was the funny thing about the whole situation too. So when you click on their profile, they have just trying to live in God's image. Fam, God didn't lie on people. I'm saying, I'm like, if anybody's going to be the most religious person or just overall religious being in the world, it's going to be God. And God ain't lied on nobody's name like that. All right. So that's why I'm like, fam, you can't claim that you're trying to live in God's image and you just out here telling flat out lies about people. I'm saying, like, the bullying stuff, you might have something with that. But with the sexual harassment, come on now. You definitely got me confused with Just a Robot. I'm like, fam, that's one of those things where it's like, yeah, I don't know, maybe it just based on how he types, might not hear all that good either. And yeah, you know, he heard something wrong. But I'm like, it's either you just out here just flat out lying to people, or somebody lied to you. If somebody told you of that information, they flat out lied to you. So that's why I'm like, fam, it's one of those things where I'm like, fam, my thing is this, you're gonna make stuff up about me, at least make it sound realistic, you know, where I'm like TMossBoss stole a pair of sneakers. I would have proven, if I had to, well, dang, that's one thing about it. I ain't got like there's like some sneakers where I know I ain't got the receipts to them and stuff. But I'm like, so you guys might have me there, but I could come out and just say that right now. I ain't never stolen a pair of sneakers before in my life. All right. Like it wasn't. I had to say the closest I came to thinking about stealing a pair of sneakers, it ain't even really stealing. It was me just, I guess grabbing my size, throwing about, it was because it was like, yeah, at the time, like Bread 11s, I think they were going for like $220. So I think that's what I was thinking, like, okay, I'll just go to the bank, withdraw about $250, throw it in the cashier's face, grab a pair of size 10s, take off running. It ain't really stealing, because I am paying for the shoes. It's just not a legitimate way of like going through with a professional purchase and stuff. That's the closest that I've ever got. But I was saying that as a joke. I know people would be thinking like, oh, TMossBoss, he thought about stealing a pair of sneakers, and people would just run with it and stuff. So yeah, but it's somewhere it's like, at least be like think this stuff through. You just pulled some stuff out of a hat and just said, okay, I'm gonna accuse him of bullying and sexual harassment. And it's funny because I sent it to a friend of mine's, and they said that they were overall reporting the account and stuff. I wasn't even thinking along those lines. I'm like, hey, if that person wants to make up lies and stuff about me, I'm like, hey, at the end of the day, that's stuff that you're gonna have to answer for, and it's like, and it ain't gonna be, and I have to say that's gonna probably be one of the like when you meet those pearly gates. God's gonna ask you, why did you make that tweet? Like, that's something where I'm like, if you know what, if we gonna sit down, because I've been trying to get a little bit within my religion and stuff. I've been trying to touch in with my religion, been reading the Bible every night and things, and that is one thing. Why? Because I'm kind of like in the beginning part. I'm still in the Genesis section of the Bible and stuff, but I feel like that if we sitting down and we talking about God's image, God ain't out here. God ain't got no reason to lie. He ain't got no reason to put nobody down. He ain't got no reason to do any of that. If the only thing he is going to do for his people is bless them, okay, guide them in the right direction. I'm saying, like, the thing is this: God is with you, but you ain't with him if you out here making tweets like that. So it's like, and that's the thing. You can make those types of tweets or have those types of things in your bio. You can read the Bible. You could go to church. You could do all this. But when you out here just flat out lying on people's names, you have to really sit down and think about that. Going to church, getting baptized, reading the Bible, looking at tweets and, any other social media accounts where they're quoting the Bible and stuff. All of that just seems like to me, it seems like it's going in one ear and out the other. Because I'm like, what my question is to this kid, whoever this kid is, what do you overall know about the Bible? When was the last time you went to church? When was the last time you even seen holy water? When was the last time you watched anything biblically, or I guess stuff like movies, TV shows, documentaries, things like that about the Bible? I'm saying it's like you can't say that you trying to live in God's image and you out here carrying on like this. So that's what I'm saying. I'm like, first things first, get an education. Because with them tweets that you were making, I'm like, you even look at some of the other tweets that he was making. It's like, yeah, he's you could tell he's a kid, all right? But anyways, get your education, okay? Realize your worth. Like, and what I overall mean by that is realizing your worth is realizing that you ain't got to be another person's puppet. Because it's like, that's why I see with a lot of Just the Robots fans. I'm like, the people that are still his fans, you're a puppet. That's sad. I'm like, and it's one of those things where I'm like, I know people try to get on me and be all like, oh, you don't know what this. All like, nah, fam, you a puppet, bro. It's like, if you are Just a Robot fan, you are a flat out puppet. And that's something where I'm like, maybe one day you might realize your worth. But it's like, if you haven't realized it, then it's one of those things where I'm like, fam, people, okay, realize that you are so much, like, if I could just, I guess, say some inspiring things, you have to realize that you are much more important than being known as Just a Robot puppets, okay? Like, it's one of those things where it's like, you have to realize that you can do so much with your life. Even if you are a kid, you could do so much with your life sitting around trying to keep his word alive about people that can care less about stuff that he says about them. Fam, come on now. Like, really, sit down and think about these things, all right? So, but anyways, with that being said, yeah, I know people will probably be all like, what was my reaction to seeing that tweet? I read it a couple of times because I was like, for one, I didn't really understand what they were saying. The grammar was just all over the place. But then I was all like, wait a minute, like they're talking about me. They're saying that I'm bullying people and sexually harassing people. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, bullying people, okay, but sexually harassing people? When and where? Because I'm like, that if people, look, the thing is this, if it's a content creating person, I don't be talking with people like that. I like that. The thing is this, I wouldn't show my DMs because I'm like, I don't know if everybody will be comfortable with me showing, because there's at times where, like, it'll be like friends where they be talking on something like vulnerable and stuff. So that's why I'm like, yeah, but I can tell you this right now. There has never, and I mean never, been a time where the conversation then took a turn down some, being sexual and stuff. I don't do that. Not on no internet platforms. I'm like, yeah, face to face or somebody there. I'm like, yeah, then, but I'm like, if internet, no, nah. So that's why I'm like, yeah, I don't know who told you that information, but I'm like, they flat out lied to you. If it was somebody that claims they know me, they flat out lied to you. Because I'm like, I don't know what you were talking about. And then, but yeah, then it's like with the bullying stuff, like I said, I'm like, yeah, it's like if we talking Just the Robots fans, yes. Then I'm like, but if it's anybody else, I'm like, who? I'm like, please tell me who. I'm like, who was it? Somebody that I worked with? I ain't never bullied nobody that I worked with. Somebody that I went to school with? I'm trying to think, because it's like, if I'm thinking all the way back, if we thinking like what, preschool, kindergarten. I'm like, fam, I barely remember preschool or kindergarten, but I feel like I will remember if I was doing something to somebody, bullying them and things. But I'm like, fam, no, I wasn't. The thing is this, everybody, I was more so like loud and being like, yeah, like people like friends and stuff. But when it came to like random kids, fam, I was shy. I was super shy, and I'm still to this day shy. I would say, like, if somebody strikes up a conversation with me, yeah, I can have a normal conversation with them. That's one thing that I've never said, like, oh, I have communication issues. Wherever the conversation is going, somebody can come up to me and be all like, oh, let's talk politics. Okay, cool, let's talk politics. Might not know a whole lot about politics, but yeah, sure. I'm like, what do you want to talk about? Want to talk about sports? It could be a sport that I don't even watch. It'd be like lacrosse or something. I'm like, all right, cool. Let's talk sports. Let's talk on a sport that I don't really know about and things. You know, if somebody wants to talk to me about music and it's a musician that I don't even listen to, like let's say for an example, Sabrina Carpenter. I'm like, yeah, that girl been blowing up a lot. Don't really listen to her music. I have to say I listened to one song of hers, and it was a song she did with Dolly Parton. And I was like, that was probably the one and only time I sat down and listened to her music. Now, they're like, TikTok? Yeah, I probably done heard her music before on TikTok. But that's the thing, though, where I'm like, if it's a conversation where I'm like, I know I ain't going to be doing a whole lot of talking, then I'm like, yeah, you tell me everything you need to know about lacrosse, Sabrina Carpenter, or politics. You know, I'm like, you tell me everything you need to know, and I would go based off of what I know with whatever you just told me and stuff. So, yeah, at times I'm like, man, you know, it's people like whoever this person is. I'm like, yeah, I can tell you ain't really good with communicating just based on your wordplay when it comes to making tweets out and stuff. But yeah, I can tell what part of the internet you came from, and it's sad, man. It's sad you see people carrying on that way, but. Anyways, with that being said, I will talk to y'all later. Thank you guys for watching and or listening. Stay tuned for the next episode. Like, subscribe, viewing this on YouTube. Follow, subscribe, viewing this on the podcast streaming service. And peace.